Kenny Bernstein is considered to be one of the greatest drag racers in the history of the NHRA. In 1986, he started a team called King Racing, which competed in the NASCAR Cup Series full-time with Joe Ruttman driving. 2 years later, Bernstein decided to expand the team into IndyCars. Here we will be taking a look at that team's exploits. Bernstein would have the team make their debut at the 1988 Indianapolis 500. With sponsorship from Mac Tools, King Racing fielded a pair of Lola Buicks for the journeyman driver Jim Crawford, who had recovered from a terrible accident in 1987 that broke both of his legs, and also for three-time 500 winner Johnny Rutherford. Crawford would qualify in 18th place, but he was the 11th fastest qualifier at 210.564 miles per hour. This was despite the fact that he ran into much hotter temperatures than the other days. He started further back due to being a second-day qualifier. Meanwhile, Rutherford got into the field in 30th place. In the race itself, Crawford showed that his speed was no fluke, and he gradually made his way to the front of the field. This would come to a head on lap 94 when leader Danny Sullivan made a pit stop during a debris caution, and Crawford got the lead, keep it for 7 laps, and find the lead again on lap 104. Rutherford was not having anywhere near as good of luck, and he crashed on lap 117, causing him to finish 22nd. In the late stages of the race, Crawford found himself in second place. However, on lap 194, in turn 3, Crawford lost control and flat-spotted his tires. In the ensuing pit stop, the team had issues replacing them. When everything was all said and done, Crawford had dropped to 6th place where he would finish. The finish was the best for Crawford, and to that point, the Buick engine at Indianapolis. King Racing would not compete in any other races that season. For 1989, Bernstein and Crawford returned together at the Indianapolis 500. Not much else changed except for the fact that King Racing was now a single-car team. In qualifying, Crawford would qualify in 4th place. However, in practice afterwards, he crashed the car. There was speculation that the team would need to use a backup and move to the rear of the field. In opposition to the pressure, the car would be repaired in time for the race. Unlike 1988, Crawford would back up his early stages of the race to 8th place by the time of the first caution on the 3rd lap. However, he would recover to get back into the top 6. Unfortunately, Crawford's day would end early due to a drivetrain issue after completing 135 laps. At the time, he was running in 4th place, albeit 4 laps down. After sitting out the 1990 race, King Racing made their return to the 500. In 1990, one of the Crawford who drove for Team Menard in 1990 returned to the team in their Lola Buick, promoting Quaker State motor oil as Bernstein's NASCAR team of the time did. The combination continued their speed with an 8th place start. Race day would not go as well, however, as Crawford retired from the race due to an engine failure after 40 laps, and he finished in 26th place. For the first time in their history, King Racing would compete in IndyCar races beside the 500. Two-time winner Roberto Guerrero would drive the car in 3 races. Due to these races being sanctioned by CART rather than USAC, as Indianapolis was, stock block V6 engines, such as the Buick, did not get as much turbocharged boost, causing them to not be as quick. Guerrero would get a best finish of 14th place in his debut at the Valvoline Detroit Grand Prix on the streets of Detroit. Guerrero returned with the team at the 1992 Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach once again in the Quaker State Lola Buick. Despite the engine being at a disadvantage, he qualified a respectable 14th out of 23 cars. Guerrero would get into the top 10 but suffered electrical issues after 69 laps and finished 13th. Back at the Indy 500, Jim Crawford joined the team alongside Guerrero. The two consistently practiced above 230 miles an hour and were both amongst the favorites for the pole position. On pole day, Crawford blew an engine and spun in the morning practice session. Guerrero posted a 4-lap average of 232.482 miles per hour and a new track record. Crawford seemed to catch a break when rain delayed qualifying, causing drivers who were still in line like Crawford to have to wait until the second day. Unfortunately, on the second day, Crawford suffered another engine failure and would miss out on a shot at the pole. He eventually completed a run at 228.859 miles per hour, the 6th fastest, but he started in 21st place. Despite the quick speed Guerrero and Crawford showed, there were still questions as to the reliability of the Buick engine, which had never lasted in the 500 miles before. As the field went on their parade laps, Guerrero was warming his tires in cold temperature. Suddenly on the back straightaway, Guerrero spun out and would hit the inside wall. Without even actually starting the race, Guerrero was out of it completely. King Racing's hopes would shift to Crawford now. He would get into the latter half of the top 10, however on lap 76, Crawford spun out and would hit the outside wall, collecting defending winner Rick Mears in the process. He would be credited with a 25th place finish. The team would not start any races for the rest of the year. In 1993, King Racing changed their IndyCar operation model. The team would now compete full-time with Roberto Guerrero driving. Additionally, Chevy engines would now be in their Lola chassis, and Budweiser, Bernstein's sponsor, and NHRA adorned the car. In the first 3 races of the season, Guerrero got a best finish of 5th place at Long Beach. At the Indianapolis 500, Guerrero was joined by Crawford and 4-time Indy 500 winner Al Unser Sr. Guerrero would qualify 10th, Unser in 16th place, and Crawford in 31st place, and an unusual departure from his previous competitiveness. Guerrero mostly ran in the middle of the field and was not helped by a stop-and-go penalty for speeding on pit lane. His race would end on lap 128 when he made contact in turn 3 with Jeff Andretti, causing both to crash and Guerrero to finish 28th. Crawford would be a non-factor in the race. He spun out on lap 16 and ultimately finished 8 laps down in 24th place.
For pit strategy, Unser was able to lead 15 laps and ran in the top 10 for most of the race. Unfortunately, he stalled on his final pit stop and would drop to 12th place at the finish. For the rest of the season, Guerrero finished in the top 10 4 times and would get a best finish of 4th place at the New England 200 at New Hampshire International Speedway. In spite of this, he would get released from the team with 3 races left in the season in favor of veteran driver Eddie Cheever. In his 3 races, Cheever had a best finish of 10th place at the Bosch Sparkplug Grand Prix at Nazareth Speedway. Guerrero would ultimately finish 14th in the final standings with 39 points, even though he missed the final 3 races of the season. In 1994, King Racing would switch their engines once again, this time from Chevrolet to Ford Cosworth. Additionally, Scott Goodyear was now the driver. The season would very much be a struggle for the combination. Through 9 races, Goodyear had a best finish of 10th place twice and was ranked to just 18th place in the standings. At Indianapolis, the team expanded to 2 cars with Davy Jones also driving. Goodyear would be bumped around the field on bump day. However, Bernstein elected to have Goodyear replace Jones. In the race, Goodyear dropped out after 29 laps due to a mechanical issue and finished in 30th place. Andrea Montermini would also drive 2 races in the team's second car and would get a best finish of 7th place at the Molson Indy Toronto at Exhibition Place. Goodyear's season would have a bright spot at the 10th race, the Marlboro 500 at Michigan International Speedway. Goodyear remained amongst the leaders after starting in 12th place. As the race went on, more and more drivers retired from the race. With 50 laps left, only 11 of 28 starters remained. When Al Unser Jr.'s engine failed after 230 laps, Goodyear got the lead and would hold on to win his second race and King Racing's first. In the remaining 6 races of the season, Goodyear finished in the top 10 3 times, topped by a 4th place at the Molson Indy Vancouver at Concord Pacific Place. He would finish 12th in the final standings with 55 points. At the end of the season, Bernstein would shut down the IndyCar team. In their 6-year history, King Racing showed that they could compete with the top teams and even beat them.
Bye.